Hey, want to come for a spin? We're going into the world of garments, laundry, and what's right for clean rooms. See you soon. Hello, hope you're doing okay. Tim Sandle here, and this week's video is all about clean room garments and the process of re-laundering garments. So let's begin with the presentation. And to get things going, on the slide we have an electron micrograph of the weave of a clean room garment. Okay, so clean room clothing. So this is special clothing designed for wearing in clean rooms, and this is required because the human body creates its own microenvironment, and there's the risk of producing high levels of particulate contamination, and this being shed outwards, and about 20% of these distributed particles will be carrying microorganisms in the form of skin detritus. So to be effective, the clothing must form a particulate barrier against this human microenvironment. So the clean room suit can be thought of as a large filter, but at the same time there needs to be a trade-off to allow for freedom of movement and to be comfortable, and also we sometimes want the suit to be anti-static. We want the suit to avoid being a particle contributor itself. We don't want to be releasing particles and fibres, and of course in grade A and grade B areas we need the suit to be sterile as well, and it can either be sterilised by gamma radiation or by autoclaving. Now there are two types of suits worn in clean rooms, and these are either those that are single issue or those that are reusable, and there are different preferences, but generally reusable suits are more comfortable. So reusable gowns are subject to washing, so they go through a process of re-laundering, and that involves the use of a detergent, followed by careful packaging so that when they open they don't go all over the place, they kind of come out in a controlled manner, and then with the sterilisation method for those suits required for aseptic processing. And reusable clean room fabrics are generally manufactured using 100% continuous filament polyester and continuous filament polyester carbon combination yarns to minimise particle shedding. And it's also important that there's sufficient to allow the air to pass through, but equally to retain microorganisms, as I mentioned. If it comes down to performance, then there's a little difference between reusable gowns and disposable gowns, but you know, it's whatever's most convenient and economic for the process. So here we have the importance of weave. So the picture on the right is at 1 magnification, and then we're going in closer at a more focused magnification using an electron micrograph, and we can see here the image of a trapped bacterial cell. So this is an example of an efficient garment. Now it's important that we keep note of regulations. So FDA, for example, regularly put out observations about the use of clean room garments. So it's either not fitting properly, so the suit's got to be of the right size, you don't want it to billow out when we're wearing it, but also we need to be mindful that everything's tucked in, we don't have anything that's torn, anything that's damaged, anything fraying, and we're actually then processing the garments, treating the garments in the right way, otherwise we risk FDA citation. It's also really important when the garments are prepared that they undergo particle control. So this is a test where a garment is placed in a rotating stainless steel drum, and it's typical to do several garments per batch of garments processed, and then the drum rotates and the garment is tumbled for about 10 minutes, and airborne particles larger than 0.5 microns are counted within the drum's interior using a particle counter. And this would be the garment, the hoods and anything else. And a specialised drum is used for this process called the Helmick drum. So the drum test is well established, but it's a really important one. And through the tumbling process, any particles released are captured, and the tumbling provides data showing us the extent of the gown, how long it can last for, and this is assessed by fabric deterioration. So we would have a set limit on the number of times that a garment can be used for, which is typically between 25 and 50 uses. But we also need to have a sound repair policy, which we would agree with the Cleanroom garment supplier. So here we have Betty doing some garment repairs. And the extent of repairs that are allowed depends on where the gown is used. So within aseptic processing area, it's normally 0 tolerance. In grade C and D, they might allow small patches, maybe the size of a coin or something like that. But if they actually get a torn in the gown, then it should be discarded. So having a gown repair policy and how we treat that is of great importance as well. But we also need to control the number of sterilizations that we're going to be allowing. So again, this is the number of times a gown can be re-laundered, because sterilization is equally an aggressive process. So we need to control that, and we control how many times the gown is laundered by tracking, and this is through the use, typically for the use of barcodes, and you kind of scan each gown as it's used, and when it hits the maximum number of times, then the gown is withdrawn from use. Okay, so we need to make sure we're wearing gowns of the right size. We don't use gowns that are damaged. If we tear a gown, we report it and get it out of the system. If we're in lower grade clean rooms, we would then also signal that, but we might expect the gown to be repaired. We control the re-laundering by monitoring for particles, and we control the number of sterilizations because that affects the lifetime of the gown. So thank you for watching, and I'm Tim Sandle, and I will be back with you soon. Have a great day. Bye.
Cheerio! Catch you later at another video session. Cheerio!